Biohazard warning. Entering contaminated zone. Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only. Backup activated. System rebooted.
What's going on, guys? Your main man Sly here, and thanks for checking out another weapon review. Alright, so let's talk about this G36. I was skeptical about assault rifles when I first heard about the changes. I wasn't entirely sure if Armor Shred was going to be enough to bring them back up to par with SMGs at the current time. Well, I am no doubt eating my words. The G36 is by far the best weapon of the update, hands down. Now, I was lucky enough to get it out of my very first underground cache, along with the SVD after completing the tutorial, and I've been using it ever since. It is absolutely deadly, guys. It is insanely accurate, with controllable recoil, great stability, and it's pretty freaking hard to beat, man. Now, keep in mind, I currently have pretty low firearms, and even with that, the G36 puts up impressive damage numbers, as you can see here, at around 11.3 thousand. But before we begin this review, I want everyone to be aware that the G36 is a great weapon and super powerful, but for a reason. It is currently bugged, and it's getting a nerf very, very soon. Apparently, a few bugs made it into the underground, and the overpowered G36 is one of those bugs. Take a quick look at this snippet from Tuesday's 1.3 pre-release State of the Game.
We also did note yesterday, and some people may have picked it up, that the G36, which is an awesome new assault rifle, its base damage is higher than it should be.
It's a bit too awesome.
It's a bit too awesome. But we want to be as clear as possible with that when it does, because that is going to have to be brought down. It's a big outlier in the assault rifle type. That will receive a cut to its base damage.
Alright, so there you have it, ladies and gents. They didn't specifically say when the nerf will happen, but it is indeed on the way. With auto rifles changing to the new system and with an introduction of a new weapon, the mistake couldn't have come at a worse time. But that's not what this video is about. I'll get to that another time, but there is still plenty of damage packed into this auto rifle that even with the nerf will still be a great weapon. Although if they hit it any harder than 15-20%, I think it will be the death of it. Alright, so as you can see, the one I'm using right here has damage of 11.3 thousand with 20% armor damage, and that isn't even as high as you can go. Base rounds per minute is 750 with 30 in the magazine unmodded. My talents are deadly, swift, and stable. It does kick a little bit in a straight up and down fashion, but with stable on it and a barrel mod that has a little extra horizontal stability and accuracy, this thing is definitely as stable, if not more so, than an SMG. I used basically the same mods that I had on my AUG, which was a magazine mod with faster rate of fire and mag size increase, also extra headshot damage and more accuracy. Keeping your reticle tight after blasting through an entire mag is a huge increase in DPS, guys. Now this is because your bullets won't start veering from the center of your aim, and putting a lot more accuracy on your auto rifle is a great thing to do. This is one of the few times that I've been under 200k damage on my primary, and to be honest, guys, I don't think I can tell the difference between my SMG last update, which was over 240,000, versus the G36 at 193,000. It is that good. The two main things you notice right off the bat is that Pulse will play a huge part in boosting your damage. Now, I was all about the SMG pre-1.3 update, and they landed crits all the time. However, auto rifles do not. When you're shooting while enemies are pulsed, you notice a huge increase in damage, more so than when we used to use pulse with an SMG last update, and that's because we were all spoiled because we hit so many critical shots even without pulse. It is a way larger addition in damage when you use it with an auto rifle, and I wasn't even spec'd out for extra pulse critical chance or critical damage either. If I was, then it would have just enhanced the already crazy amount of damage that was added. This was just a normal pulse at 18k skill power. The second thing you notice is that you do a lot more damage at medium to medium long ranges. The drop off for auto rifles is fairly far, and you can instantly notice how bad the damage drop off of SMGs really were. That's why I always used to preach about mods that added range to like the Vector and the AUG. As you can see by the gameplay, guys, this thing does not mess around, and it's not like the enemies I'm facing are weak ones either. Level 32 enemies used to be the toughest enemies in the game, but now they take a back seat to the insane level 35s in DZ6. Anyways, they're still no joke, and if you run into a bunch of elites, it's still pretty tough. If you have an opportunity, guys, to use a G36, even if it's a 204, do it. Use it while the getting is good. Before the damage reduction patch happens, you will be glad that you did. Alright, so now a question that I always ask myself: how can I make this better, more powerful? Well, there are two ways that you can go here. First is the same route we used to take with SMGs, mod to what the weapon already has, which is enemy armor damage. So in other words, stack more enemy armor damage. Pairing this with strikers and then trying to roll destructive on it is a good way to go. Ignoring enemy armor is a great way to get free damage out of an already powerful assault rifle. Now I plan on trying this out very soon, and I'll make a video letting everyone know how it turns out and how much extra damage it really gives us. The second way is to build around Pulse. Mod for as much critical hit chance or critical hit damage as you can find. Now Pulse will already help you boost your crit damage by a decent amount, because getting your crits to hit will drastically improve your damage. Now of course that's an obvious statement, but the benefit of mods is that they are always active, and when building around Pulse to achieve max damage, that doesn't mean you shouldn't think about what happens in between, and stacking as much crit hit chance as possible is the best way to go. Now of course finding the best balance of both crit hits and armor damage would be the ideal situation, although with high critical hit chance being hard to squeeze in with enough room to leave space for other mods, using Striker's gear along with the talent Destructive and a high rolled armor damage G36 would definitely solve that problem. That setup would completely wreck shop. A modded G36 with high crit chance, then high enemy armor damage with Strikers, and then Destructive adding to an already high amount. Simply top that off with Pulse, and you have an absolute beast in your hands, guys. Now, there are three variations of the G36. The military G36 seems to be the lowest tier, and it usually comes with a little less damage overall. The G36C is the mid-range version, which is what you see here, and then the enhanced G36 is the top dog, sporting the best damage overall. Granted, it's not by much, but it's the same thing with other weapons like the M1A, for example. You have classic M1A at the lowest tier, SOCOM M1A at the middle, and then first wave being the top. And usually the first wave is capable of having more damage. But it is possible to have a top-rolled G36C with more damage than a low-rolled enhanced G36. Even though the enhanced is capable of doing more damage, that doesn't always mean it will. Either way, any of these weapons are pure gold right now, and consider yourself lucky if you have one at 229 with great talents. But that's about it, ladies and gents. I just wanted to give you all my thoughts on the new beast weapon of the Underground DLC, what to look for, and how to improve it. I also did a review of the new SVD, which is a marksman's dream. It handles like the old broken balance talent back in the day, but of course with less damage overall. There are ways around that, but click the link up top if you want to check that out in all of its beautiful glory. Once again, guys, thank you all so much for watching and for supporting the smaller YouTuber. If you want to stay in the know, follow me on Twitter at SlyNation. It's the best place to stay up to date on everything the Division has to offer, as well as new news from Destiny and my channel. I'm out, guys. Have a great weekend. Until next time, this is your boy Sly. Done, gone, out.
Ammo inbound. Zone B secure.